Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G, here with Tommy Sigmund. We are reeling in episode 99 of the show. That's right, the last one before we hit triple digits. And make sure you come around for episode 100. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing something different. I'll be in the interviewee chair. Stay tuned to figure out who's going to be the interviewer. But without further ado, I want to give a big thanks to our lovely sponsors, Government Taco and Falaya Real Estate. Now, without further ado, Tommy, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. I don't know a whole lot about you, which is intriguing to me. So I'm going to be asking lots and lots of questions to hear a little bit more about yourself, to figure out how in the world at 17 you're able to write a book that becomes a bestseller on Amazon, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, dude, tell me about yourself. Who is Tommy Sigmund?
So I'm Tommy. I wrote the book called The Greatest Advantage when I was 15 years old.
15?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I'm a foster child in the state of Louisiana. And my mom we had a really weird situation. She had a lot of mental issues. She was bipolar and could be really violent. And basically that led to me being kicked out when I was 13. So I went and stayed with my dad. And there's a lot of drug problems, a lot of situations I just shouldn't have been involved in. So long story short, I ended up in the foster care system, and I basically just decided, a lot of times foster kids are perceived as, it's so terrible. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Oh, I feel so bad for you. And I decided, I was like, I had this story. I've gained a lot of knowledge from what I've gone through. I want to turn this around. I want to make this into something. So I wrote a book called The Greatest Advantage. And the premise is how adversity and pain and trials, how you can turn these around to be your greatest advantage, to be the best thing that happened to you. So the book is just, the first chapter is about my story. And after that, each chapter is just something I've learned from my foster care experiences. So it's about the importance of gratitude, the importance of work ethic, just the importance of being a leader and being kind to others, of not letting your emotions or your trauma or your pain break you down. It's basically just a book about how to apply it to build you up.
So, dude, what was that experience like? That is something that I can never imagine or even relate to. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like, if you're okay with doing that.
You can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
Pun intended. Love it.
So basically, it wasn't, every kid's experience is different. Every kid that goes in the foster care system has a different story, has a different emotion towards their story. For me personally, I'm one of the happiest people I know. Like I can genuinely say that, there's no part of me that has this emotional hold to my story or all, I feel so happy every day. I mean, there's one part of my book where I talk about just being grateful for the little things. Like I remember when I lived with my dad, we didn't always have like the best food or the cleanest house. So, the opportunity just to make a sandwich was like, a big deal. And now I live in a house where every day I can make a sandwich, which doesn't seem like a lot to most people that's always been able to do that. But it's like, man, like there's kids out there like me, like for so long that couldn't make a sandwich. Like, man, life is good. So I'm always happy. I'm always just thankful and just run off of gratitude.
Wow, man, dude, that is truly powerful. So how long what is your situation now?
So I just moved foster families about 2 weeks ago. It wasn't a bad situation. My last foster family, they were amazing. But this other family, basically the son is an entrepreneur. I'm doing online school to focus on writing my next book in entrepreneurship, and what I'm doing now. And so, he's also an entrepreneur. He has a lot of similar goals and visions as me. So I moved into with him and his family simply for the purpose of, I'm about to be an adult and I want to be able to be with people that are like-minded, that have goals similar to mine, where we can, build off of each other and bring each other to the same space that we want to go. So now I'm doing virtual school as a senior, and I'm just focused on just working on my next book and getting this one out there and, basically just spreading the message that adversity is a good thing.
Yeah, man. So how did you even begin to write a book? Like I know I could not sit down and start, writing out my thoughts into a book. How did you go about that process?
To be honest, a lot of people will think that writing's you're an author, so you must have enjoyed writing. No, writing is not.
I mean, especially at 15 too. That's what some consider an extremely young age to write a book. That's just incredible, truly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's not a really exciting experience. But I did know, if I wrote a book, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to be able to speak to people. I wanted to be able to do things like this to spread the message. And I saw the book as an opportunity to do that. if I just reached out to people and, if I didn't have a book or I didn't have anything going, if I was just a foster kid, it's kind of like the book establishes credibility to be able to do these type of things. So I was just really motivated by the idea that the opportunities the book can bring, as well as the book itself being able to give something to foster kids, people in general from situations like mine. But writing it itself, I just decided one day, I was like, I want to write a book. And then I just, I was feeling pretty motivated, and I just went through it.
Like, did you use Word? I mean, walk me through like the actual logistics of writing this book. What was that like?
So the logistics I got on Word.
Okay.
And I just started writing. I used my little school. We had a school Word account. I just started using that. And then I realized if you're writing a book, be careful, because writing on Word was not the best idea, because I had to switch it all over to Google Docs to be able to format it to be a book. And so, yeah, basically just I wrote it all on Word. I got some people to come look over it, to edit it, to revise it. Let me know if it sucks or not. Got a lot of feedback. Basically once I got the feedback, had to go back in and change or rewrite a lot of things. And then I sent it off to people to format. I had a lady who's also an author. She wrote a book called The Wall of Crosses. And she helped me make the cover and do a lot of it. And then I found a distributor, so I put it out there. We got it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Walmart, Target, iTunes, pretty much every retailer out there. And that's pretty much it.
Wow, man. So you were able to utilize the connections you had met through how were you able to meet these people and get to those connections of people who have written books in the past?
So I was in a foster family where my foster dad, his sister-in-law, was an author. And she was really into writing. She was one of those authors that really enjoyed writing and being an author. And she knew her stuff well. And her book was doing pretty well. I think it was also selling really well on Amazon. So that's when I just reached out to her. I was like, hey, I want to do this. Can you help me? And she was like, and when you're 15 and you're telling people like,
hey, I want to write a book.
Yeah, they're like, okay, I'm sure you write a book. Yeah, dude, I'll help you when it's time.
Right.
And I don't know if that's what she was thinking or not. But then I was like, all right, my book's almost ready. Like, let's get rolling. And she was like, oh, okay, you're serious.
Wow.
So that's when we got rolling. She helped me think of she helped me revise the name, the cover, and everything. So she did a lot.
So how were you able to find like a distributor or a publisher?
She knew them.
Okay.
Well, I self-published it.
Oh, dude, what was
Yeah.
that like?
It's really not that hard.
How do you self-publish a book?
So you like this little barcode on the back of the book.
Was it the UPCC code or something like that?
Yeah, you go buy that. You go buy the number, the ISBN number, and there's a website that you go buy it on, and then you just design the cover based on the number. She helped me do a lot of it. But in the next few months, I plan on releasing a course for how to do it. So
yeah, like that. I feel like that should be like the next progressive step is, hey, I wrote a book. Here's how you write a book.
If a 15-year-old can do it, you can do it.
But from the printing to everything, do you have to like find a printer, or is there a site that you used? Well, I mean, what were those?
I have a distributor that
handled everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's out like they put it out in the retailer stores for me. They print them out. Like all I have to do is I just have to go order them. They send them to me. They handle a lot of my sales for me. So they do a lot, and they make it pretty easy. But there are things I have learned that's going to be on the course too, that the distributor, like you don't want to rely on the distributor for too much. If you actually want to make money off of your book, there's a few things you're going to want to learn how to do yourself, and marketing yourself, and platforms you're going to want to get it on that they might not necessarily help you get it on, that is going to save you a lot of money. So there's things I've kind of learned going throughout the way.
Yeah, like how to get it on Amazon, so on and so forth. Because selling on Amazon, I've done in a past life, sold like merchandise on Amazon, and getting there on the platform is tedious.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. You got a lot of hoops you got to go through, and it's just all time consuming. I mean, I imagine it's got to be the same for a book, right?
Well, no, the distributor makes it really easy, but the problem is between Amazon and your distributor, you don't make a lot of money off of your book. I mean,
okay.
So like you make like $2 or $3 per sale, which isn't terrible. But if you actually make your own website and you learn to promote it and market yourself, then you make like 3 or 4 times that. Depending on the manufacturer. prices and all that. But
so is that the kind of the route you took in addition to using the distributor, was making your own site and everything?
yeah, I wrote thegreatestadvantage.org. Anybody can go in there, order a book for themselves, or they can also order a book for a foster kid. So you can go on my website and you can buy a book for yourself and as many as you want for foster children. And I work with nonprofits and social workers where we give the books out for different events. Like we did a Christmas drive and we got like a few hundred books where we gave them all out to foster kids in the parish for Christmas. So, just thinking of ideas on how to get your book out there and how to sell it yourself rather than just relying on the retailers, it makes a world of a difference for sure.
Well, and then being true to yourself too, right? So like you're not going and just giving these books out to anybody on the street or anything. You're, specifically targeting people who can relate to reading the text.
Yeah, exactly.
It's understanding who the audience is, having written it. Hey, I wish there was a book like this, whenever I was in the foster system and, just really thinking to myself, is it bad that I'm here, so on and so forth. And now you're like, no, now you can read this book and learn about adversity and everything.
And that's how I always thought too. Like I remember when I was going through foster care, I was always like, I wish there was a book that was just like, here's how you do this. Like, here's how you, and not just say like, oh, have a
here's a how-to going through foster.
Yeah, how to be a foster kid and do it well, Like, there's a lot of motivational speakers out there and gurus out there. They're like, oh, have a mindset, nothing can tear you down. Well, this book is like okay, this is how you actually develop your mind through this. This isn't just be motivated. This is like how you transform yourself into that.
Yeah. And so did you like make all your website and everything yourself? Like what tools did you utilize for that?
A lot of YouTube videos. Pretty much.
YouTube will save anyone and everyone. It's a great resource for sure.
You can learn anything on YouTube. Like there's every piece of information out there you can learn through YouTube.
Yeah. Like I think I learned how to change a car motor out just from watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. Like college, I'm sure college is important. A lot of people, I think that's a good route for a lot of people, but like you can just learn anything off of YouTube.
I know. So is your plan you're 17?
Yes, sir.
So you're still in high school.
Yeah.
So are you planning to do the college route? Why not?
I'm in the middle, to be honest. I think for an entrepreneurial standpoint, I think for connections and things like that, it would be good. But I really want to be a realtor.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about, it's like, I almost feel like it'd be better just to go start out my career as a realtor, find a good team, and find people that can mentor me that are successful realtors that, I can go network with them. I can get them to mentor me and teach me. So that's where I'm leaning at the moment. But I'm not closed off to the idea of college. I'm still pretty open to it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a delicate balance from an entrepreneurial standpoint, right? You've got to balance, do I go and spend a couple years learning and getting a degree?
Yeah.
Or do I spend those same years building a business?
Exactly.
But for some situations, you might need the education in order to better build a business. Like realtor, you got to take the test, you got to learn how to do that craft. So there is that schooling part of becoming a realtor. I mean, what kind of has driven you to do the realtor route?
I really don't know. I don't know. I think I just I'm really interested in real estate and I want to be an investor. Like I want to be a real estate investor. And I thought being a realtor in my mind will help me understand what I want to buy, what I should be looking for, having people that, hey, I want to sell my house, to have opportunities coming to me. I'm really interested in sales. I love selling. I want to have a job with people. And I don't know, it just made sense.
I mean, it's a lot of selling. You gotta sell houses. You also have to be able to go into someone's home and tell them, hey, I know you've got an emotional connection to this home, but hey, maybe it's you're ready to sell it. Let's start talking with dealers. Maybe it's not priced as high as you think it is. And you got to have those tough conversations with them. Say, look, I know it's your baby, and you wanted to pay this much for it, but maybe the next person does not.
That's what I've heard a lot of part of being a realtor is, and also. If I release books, like my next book, I'm trying to find an agent right now that can help me schedule more engagements and more podcasts and radio shows and stuff like that. But once my next book comes out, or even now with this book, I'm able to do things like this on podcasts. If I'm like, if one of your audience members knows someone, if they just know someone that knows someone that's trying to sell a house, and they're like, oh, I watched this kid's podcast. He wrote a book. He seems like a nice kid. I want to do business with him. Then that could definitely grow my funnel or that I can get if I got a commission off of a house for someone that knows someone for watching your podcast, and that can make a big difference,
Absolutely. Have you thought about starting your own podcast?
Kind of. So I'm pretty sure. I just had the first introduction episode. We're feeling it out right now. It's not for certain, but we're trying it. There's a podcast called The Livingston Thread.
Yep.
With Brandon Browning, and I'm about to be a co-host on his show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And he's I believe he's in real estate too, right?
Yeah, he's a realtor himself.
Yeah.
So that's the plan right now. I hope the introduction video comes out before this podcast.
This just in, spoiler alert.
Yeah, so if not, then I'm sorry, Mr. Brandon.
So doing podcasts and going around promoting your book has kind of been a way to get your name out there and also to get your experience out there for like situationed individuals. But I also know you do some public speaking as well.
Yeah, I do.
So what has that been like, doing some public speaking?
I spoke for the Commerce Committee in Congress. Was my last engagement. Sometimes I go to schools. I go to different organizations. Pretty much just, typically like if a school or an organization puts my book into their program, I'll offer or they'll reach out for me to come and to speak. Or recently I spoke for this committee in Congress, basically advocating for laws for foster children. I'm part of a state board called the LEAF Board, which is the Louisiana Elite Advocacy Force. And we just advocate for foster kids and for unprivileged kids and for laws that, if someone has a foster kid and they're like, this law is ridiculous, so why is it like this? Or, hey, we need a law for this. Then they can reach out to me or somebody else on the board and we go advocate in front of the legislation to be able to do that. So that's the last thing I did. And we were advocating for laws. It was a few of us. We were advocating for laws about kids being forced back with their parents, or for kids not having access to extracurricular activities and things like that. But that's what I really enjoy doing. Like I enjoy doing stuff like this and going out and doing speaking engagements, because you can share your story and people can get to know you, and then you can go have those in-person, face-to-face like engagements and conversations.
Right.
And that's what I really enjoy, especially for schools and talking to the students. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to get that instant feedback from the students when you're sharing their story, and you see some people like, oh my gosh, yes, like I can relate to that. I understand what you're going through. Or you get the other faces of people like myself, where it's like, I can't really relate to that, but I'm intrigued by the story. You know? Like I can see what you're going through externally, and it's like, okay, like you've got a story to tell.
Yeah, it's typically how it goes. That's like, you never know who you're gonna meet. You might meet a kid that says, dude, I've walked in your shoes. Like, that's where I'm at right now. So, or you can have a kid that never had any of that. And, and they just like, man, like, I should be more grateful for how good of a life I've had.
100%. So, like, even if anything, it's just an appreciation for what you have in your life is so important, not just taking for granted, like you said, the ability to make a sandwich. Like the little things, being able to appreciate them, regardless of what state you're in life and regardless of your economical status. It's like, hey, look, appreciate the little things.
Exactly. That's why this book is so big to me, because it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what state of life you're in. Like, you can take something from this book. Like, if you're in that state where you're like, we're going through it, then this book can help you. This book can guide you through that. Or if you're in that state where you have no idea what that's even like at all, or you've never experienced that, you can, like you said, you can take something out of it. Like, this book just basically puts things into perspective. Like, if you're unhappy, if you're miserable with your life, it just puts in perspective, like, hey, there's a lot out there that you could be dealing with that. I'm not saying from my experiences, like, I feel like I had a pretty great life, especially hearing the other kids in foster care, but it just puts in perspective, like, there's millions or billions of people out there that are starving. Like, there's so much that we have that we just don't even think about. And that's basically what this book is this premise about. So
what in the book you think sticks with people when they read it on that message?
Typically the gratitude thing, because that's something that everyone takes away from, because like, we all can be more grateful, because we're not grateful for things that we don't even think about. Like this shirt, I put this shirt on and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna throw the shirt on and go. But there's people out there that are like when I was in middle school, or when I used to not have as much money, and there's billions of people out there in the situation now that wish they could just have a nice shirt to throw on. Or even like my shoes or anything. Like, we just take so much for granted. We have so much that we just don't think about. And that's pretty much what this book is like. The goal is for you to realize, like I got braces, and I never had as much appreciation for my mouth once I got my braces off. And I've never thought, man, I'm really grateful for my mouth. Like, there's just so much to be grateful for that we just don't think about.
Well, it's taking the time out of your day to recognize what's in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You know, we get caught up from time to time with doing the actions, with going forward and accomplishing whatever task we're trying to accomplish. We fail to take that step back and realize, okay, I'm blessed and highly favored to actually be working on this task.
Yeah.
Like to have the ability to sit here, whether it be in an office or out in a field or out in the fresh air, whatever it is, you have the ability and the luxury of doing that task, of accomplishing whatever it is you're working on, that we don't stop and say, wow, you know, that's pretty good.
Exactly.
You know, and we got it pretty good. We're not getting rained on right now, even though it's storming outside. You know, it's just little things like that to be appreciative of just within your everyday life.
Exactly. We have a roof, right? It's raining right now. We have a roof right now. And there's so many people out there that it's raining and they're probably sitting out there in the cold. And we get so wrapped up in this idea of our own life, our own thoughts, what's happening to us, that we never think about things like that. Like that we're sitting here right now in this room that feels like a really good temperature and this awesome studio. And there's people out there that wish that they had a house. And people like in our cities, like there's people that are homeless that are wishing they have a family to take care of them or a house to live under. And there's just so much out there that we just don't put in perspective. Like I catch myself getting mad or upset about something. And then once you really put it into perspective, typically it's like the most dumb thing you could get mad about. Like,
like somebody cutting you off in traffic.
Yeah, like people that someone cut them off in traffic ruin their whole day.
Yeah.
When there's billions of people out there that if they had their life and someone cut them off in traffic, they wouldn't even notice because they'd be like, wow, I never even dreamed of this life. And that's just how I try to keep my mind every day. Just keep consistently grateful, because I feel like that's just the center of just happiness, because it doesn't actually matter the stage of your life itself that determines the quality of your life. It just determines your attitude. Because there's people out there that have everything, or people that out there that are married that feel lonely or miserable, that out there that have everything that feel like they have nothing. There's people out there that have extremely very little and are so happy, because it's not actually about what we have. It's just about where our attitude is towards it.
Yeah, 100%. You have a lot of people that will say, oh, more money will solve all my problems.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's some other underlying problems that they're not going to solve. You know, they may pay that bill that's keeping you up at night, but they're not going to solve the next problem that arises and the next problem that arises.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we think when we have something we don't have, we'll be happier.
Yeah.
That we fail to take the time to really be happy with what we already have in our possession.
Exactly.
You know, it's just, and it blows my mind, like you said, hearing people say, oh, if only I had this, if only I had that, then I'd be truly happy, have a great life, and be wonderful. And it's like, well, maybe if that's not actually going to come to fruition, you should start to explore that mental headspace of, how can I be happy in what I have now? How can I be happy in my own life right in this moment? How can I be happy?
If you can be happy when you have nothing, then nothing is going to break you down. Like,
oh, 100%.
If you can still find a way, like I'm a big believer in Christ, and I'm a Christian.
Right.
And you know, there's a story of Job where this guy just loses his family dies, everything he has is just gone, and he never loses his joy and his faith, and he just stays so firm. And I'm just like, man, if I could be like less like me and more like that guy, like imagine where my life would be, you know, like,
yeah.
And just, I don't know, just the idea of like, if everything bad thing that happens to you, you find a way to grow from to just be a better version of yourself from that, then nothing in life's going to stop you. Like, that's what people always ask me. They're like, are you so sad about your family situation, your parents, or does that ever tear you down? I'm like, no, like, because like, I'm not going to just sit around and focus and mope about, oh, here's my situation with my parents from when I was younger, and not take into the fact that I have great friends. I have great people around me now. I have a ton of support. I'm able to be 17 on your podcast right now, promoting my book. Like, I have so much to be grateful for that I feel like it would just be a waste of time and silly for me to just sit around and be like, oh man, that's so upsetting.
And do you find that to be like a key to your driving factor for wanting to write that next book, is the focusing on the good rather than mellowing in the bad?
I have a chapter in there, or this might not be a chapter, but it's like a section in there that talks about if you're really, really, really just like unmotivated and like you have like no drive, no desire. I feel like that comes into play a lot with a lack of gratitude. Because if you're really grateful for all you have, like you want to use that, like you want to build, you want to give that to others, you want to share. And when you're just sitting around, you're like, man, I don't want to go do anything. I want to just sit around. Like, I'm not like, I know a lot of teenagers and people my age tend to get into the trap of, you know, I just want to be comfortable. I want to go sit in my room and play video games. I don't care. And And I think that comes to a lack of gratitude. Because when you're grateful, you're like, I have all these amazing things around me. I have all these amazing opportunities around me. I want to take advantage of these things. I want to share these things. I want to bless others with these things. So I think when you're grateful, like I think it should drive anybody.
Yeah, I mean, because you're really going against the grain here with your age group.
Yeah.
Right. Your whole age group is probably like, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go play video games. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's just chill and be kids. And you're over here like, hey, I'm grinding. Like I got one book out, bestseller, right?
Yeah.
Bestseller. Now I'm working on my second book, working on a course. Like you are going against the grain by saying, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do something different. I want to do something abnormal. And you're just trying to push forward past all what your peers are doing. I think it's really incredible.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm trying.
So like what do your friends think of it? I mean, are they supportive, or do you surround yourselves with like-minded individuals? I would hope, or do you have some friends that kind of be like, hey, Tommy, let's just take the weekend off, man. Let's go have some fun.
No, I'm very blessed with a great friend group. Like I have guys from like the guy I just moved in with. One reason why I wanted to move into him is because he thinks so similar to me that I'm like, if we can build off each other and we can like uplift each other and keep each other accountable to be motivated, then there's no telling where we can go. So I have a group of friends that also, mostly now that I'm in virtual school, most of my friends are young entrepreneurs that also do virtual school. So now they all think like, okay, school was a waste of time. I want to go make money. I want to get my life together. I'm doing virtual school and I'm going to start getting my life together. So I have a good group, and even when I wrote that book, I've always had good friends around me, but I've never had friends around me that's really motivated me, that's made me want to get my stuff together. So I'm really grateful for a good group for sure. And I always hear, parents or teachers or people telling kids or teenagers like, you're 16, you're 17, you're 15, like you're 18, like slow your roll, but
you're too young to do this.
Yeah. But in reality, that doesn't make sense, because you can either work hard now and have the rest of your life to enjoy, to be comfortable, basically or just to live life on your own terms, your own standards, or you can be comfortable now, do what you want now, and spend the rest of your life working and trying to be in that race of paying the bills, supporting the family. And like, it just makes more practical sense.
Dude, 100%.
to start now. Like, why wait? Why wait until you have to, and then you get caught in that trap of trying to make the ends meet? Like, start if you have dreams or you have something you want to do, start now while you have the least amount of responsibility and the least things you have to tend to just work on whatever you want to do. Like, if you want to be a singer, a writer, whatever, just start now. Now is the time when it makes the most sense, because when you have a family and when you have children that's waiting for food at the table, it's not going to be very practical to go after that dream you wanted when you were 16.
Dude, 100%. You will have. Right now is the time in your life where you have the fewest responsibilities that you're ever going to have in your life.
Exactly.
Like that's where you're at in your life. And I was the same way, growing up, same way in the part of being an entrepreneur and trying to do other things and not always just hanging out with friends on the afternoons, trying to chase, what can I do? What dream can I go after? What can I build to make not only myself successful, but make something in and of itself successful? And it is a different grain to go against. I mean, it's a different breed. It's a different mentality. You've got a growth mentality. You've got a learning. You've got an eagerness. You've got this ability to create something outside of just establishing friendships and hanging out on the weekends.
Yeah. And one thing I always hear too, always hear parents and teachers and friends, the thing they always are like, hey, don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to enjoy yourself, which is true. Like, I'm not going to go just burn myself out and just keep on going working like relentlessly. But the reason why I have a problem with that is because people think of, okay, the break or enjoyment or go have fun before they're thinking of the work. People aren't thinking of, hey, make sure you get your goals done. Make sure you keep people are always thinking of, okay, here's where you stop and slow down. Like, you shouldn't be thinking of quitting or the end or the break before you're thinking of, okay, let me get this done.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's the problem with teenagers. People are like, oh, I've worked so hard. Like, let me go take a break and have fun. That's the problem with parents. Like, hey, you're a kid. Don't forget to be a kid. I'm not going to be tired of working and hate working and just do it and just like be miserable. Like, I'm still going to be a teenager. I'm still going to enjoy my life. But people are just always thinking of quitting before they even think of starting. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do things like this.
No, 100%. You nailed it, right on the head. It's that mentality of, I've worked enough for today. Let me take a break, and rather than enjoying the process and not being able to get enough of that process.
Yeah.
Loving the process over profit is huge. It's It's like, hey, I love what I'm doing. And I love being able to create, write books, write courses, et cetera. Now, there does come a point in time when you do have to pay attention to that bottom line. And you do have to run the business and be like, hey, we got to make some decisions here. But from a perspective of an eager entrepreneur, it's, hey, if you love the process, don't let anybody tell you, hey, maybe you should slow down.
Exactly.
It's get out there day in, day out, grind and do what you can to build your business, build what it is, whatever you're after, and just keep chasing it.
Yeah. And people just get caught in this mentality of they're chasing after the break. They're chasing after the weekend rather than they're chasing after their goals or the result. Like when I was writing this book, I was not in my room sitting there thinking, man, I cannot wait to take a break. Like
that's Friday at 3:30, 4 o'clock, the pencil drops and I'm off to the weekend.
Like successful people don't do that. Entrepreneurs don't do that. I mean, maybe once like you get to the point where, you can live on your own terms and they choose to do that. But people that are in the process of becoming successful don't say, okay, it's Saturday. Thank goodness. I'm done. I'm going home. Like you had things to do. When I was writing this book the whole time, I was in my room thinking, I cannot wait for the opportunities. I can't wait for the people I'm going to help. I can't wait for the people I'm going to inspire, for the opportunities it's going to bring. I was not sitting there thinking, I cannot wait till Friday at 5 o'clock when I can stop. Right. And that's where people just get in the rat race of, I can't wait till this weekend. And that's why they don't accomplish things they want to accomplish, because they're just thinking of, my next break, my next, when I get to quit, Yeah,
they're looking for that end point in the immediate future. They're not looking, like you said, putting in the work now gives you the ability to live the life you want later on down the road. Yeah. I mean, just from a compounding factor of starting something at the age of 17 or 15, and, just from an investing standpoint too, putting that money in, having it compound over 30, 40 years, guess what? Exactly. You're 57. In 40 years, you're 57. Like that's still so much more time is left here that you have. It's like, look, why not put in the work on the upfront to then be able to take the leisure out in the end? As opposed to just doing the steady rate for a longer period of time. And even then, maybe not even able to enjoy the life you want. You can work so hard for someone for 30, 40 years, and then you're like, I'm here, but it's still the same life that I started off with. Now I just don't have to work as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Or instead of saying, hey, look, I'm going to grind, 24/7 for as long as I can in my teens, my 20s, my 30s. And then when I start reaching that end of the age, you're like, all right, now I'm, in the 40s and 50s. Now I can start pumping the brakes back, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But then what I imagine you'll come to find out, if and when you want to start a family, you'll have that balancing act. Mm-hmm. Like I've got a kid coming in November. It's like, all right, I've got to find a balancing act here. Yeah. Now. Like I can't just grind 24/7 because now there's another mouth to feed.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I have to figure out a way to keep doing what I want to do, keep pursuing my dreams, but still at the same time, allowing that family time, allowing that downtime. And it's just a matter of being active and engaging in the time you spend with your loved ones. Mm-hmm. Is like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm all you.
Yeah.
But when I'm not here, I'm running and gunning like crazy.
That's why people my age, if I don't have a kid, I don't have a wife. I'm 17. That's why people my age, it's like, go for it. Like
100%.
Moving, because people my age, they don't want to, like, they don't have to go spend time with the kids or with the wife. Like, you want to spend time with your family, obviously, but they're working too. They have goals too.
Right.
But just right now, like, just get going. Because kids my age, they want to stop to go play video games, or I even get caught on this. To go scroll on TikTok for 2 hours, and
TikTok will suck you in.
It will.
It'll suck you in for hours.
It's a portal. Like you get in there and you're trapped.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's as a kid, you've got to realize how much time you have and how you're in a position to chase after and give everything a shot. Try 100 different things and fail at all of them completely, disastrously, miserably, and still be able to get back up and realize, oh, I'm not even 20 yet.
Like I don't even like saying this because most of my followers are on TikTok. But if half of my followers deleted TikTok and stopped watching or scrolling through videos, even watching my videos, and they just delete the app and use that time to work on their book, they probably have a book out in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like it just right now, you just don't need to be wasting time. That's the whole mentality. Is waste time, enjoy being young, do what you want, figure it out later. It's like you don't have to have it all figured out right now, but at least you don't have to know which direction you're moving, but move somewhere. Don't just sit there and just wait.
Right. At least start formulating a game plan.
Yeah.
At least start building onto something. Like you said, like with the first book, you've now got a platform that you can leverage with your book. Yeah. From there, you can create a course on how to write a book. You said you're coming out with a second book. What is the second book going to be, a follow-up to this, like a Where Am I Now, or what's that second book going to look like?
This book is more for people that are hurting and are going through adversity or just need more perspective, or not everyone could use more perspective. This book is basically for that. But this next book is going to be geared specifically towards teenagers. I want to write a book towards teenagers while I am a teenager, and I'm credible enough to publish that.
You're still in the mix of things.
Yeah, I don't want to be in my 30s and then write a book for teenagers because they'll be like, why is this 30-year-old?
Right.
So I want to use my youth while I can to write a book for teenagers specifically, basically about just how to be leaders in their school, how to stand out, how to evangelize at their school, basically spread the gospel at their school, basically just make a strong impact rather than just be there. And that's pretty much what that book is mainly geared towards. And also just for young entrepreneurs about things like, okay, now that you're this age, we should have an income, we don't want to ask our parents for $20 every time we go somewhere. So the next book is going to be going into things about, okay, is it the most practical to go work at Taco Bell, or it's most practical to get experience and start your own business? And here's how you kind of do that. And you start leveraging the market. The school system is a market if you use it so.
Yeah.
Basically on how to use that to make money, to get business experience while you're young. So just kind of put school into a different perspective, because I'm personally now I do virtual. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of school, especially as an entrepreneur. I'm like, this is silly. I don't need to learn the science. I'm never going to apply. I'm never going to use the quadratic formula for my business. At least, maybe that's just my youth talking, but this book talks about how to see school as a market, as an opportunity, and how to use that. Well, not this book, the second book. The second book right. That'll be out.
Yeah. I mean, and still having all of that as a basic understanding, a basic foundation of it in education and knowledge can still be important and play a role. But like you said, going on, maybe college isn't for everyone.
Exactly.
It's a true fact. It's not for everyone. Some people will thrive in that environment. I've known lots of them. Some people will not. I've known lots of them.
Yeah.
It's a matter of finding what you're good at and pursuing it and moving forward.
Like my next book is not all going to be saying kids don't go to college, because college is important for a lot of people, especially if you want to be something that requires a degree. Like, you need to go to college, obviously. Or even if you have free college, if your college is paid for and you don't know what you want to do, then, go and make some experiences and learn. The next book is really for teenagers who's really are more entrepreneurial minded. And not even say don't go to college, but just, hey, you're in school. Here's the season you're in right now, and here's how to leverage this.
Have you started like a mentorship program yet?
That's what I've been working on. That's the next thing. I want to do a mentorship program for teenagers, specifically for teenage entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, give them an ability to say, hey, this is what I did growing up. This is where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And you're still able to relate to them, right?
Yeah.
Having someone come in who's 30 or 40 may not be the best relatable individual to kids as teenagers. They need someone who's a peer to them, not an adult or someone of a different degree than they are. It's like, okay, I need someone to speak to me on my terms, speak plainly to me, and don't speak to me like I'm 15.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's the plan. That's the next goal.
The next goal, I like it, man. I like it.
Thank you.
There's a lot being done. There's a lot in the works. So going through this process, have you been able to, has it brought up, emotional situations? Have you found yourself, kind of going down a dark path, or has it all just been, look, this is my experience, this is who I am, I'm owning it? I
mean, obviously, there's been times in my life where, I wasn't making the best decisions, and especially as a foster kid, I think that kind of developed, I have authority problems now, and things that I've acknowledged and I had to realize from a younger age and start working towards. So it hasn't all been a perfect process for sure. But I think it's definitely been a process that's been worth it and very growing and very eye-opening. So it's had its ups and downs, but
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it just has given you an insurmountable amount of just self-awareness of what kind of a person you are, what you respond to.
Yeah. Especially when you go through these different houses and you realize every family is so much different, and you move in with one family and you get a perspective of, because teenagers or people in general that grow up with their family their whole life, that's all they know up to that age is, okay, this is my family, so we do it. But every family is so much different. I've realized things that you would never even consider about foster care end up playing a big factor into your life. For example, I've moved in houses where it was always really, really, really cold. and the AC was always blasted, and I was always wearing like hoodies and jackets, and your skin gets until your body gets used to that.
Right.
And then you're just, now it's always hot outside because it's always cold in your house and you get used to it. And then you have another family where it's always 80 and they don't believe in the air, keeping the air on because of the electricity. So it's always really, really hot and you're just going to have to adapt to that. And there's just a lot of like weird things as a foster kid that just plays into giving you perspective. So I think it's definitely given me a more self-aware and well-rounded head on my shoulders because of that.
Oh, 100%. And so going through the system and moving houses and also being on an advocacy board, how have you seen the effectiveness of the system play out? They really do what they can. I mean, they're a system that is just so overcrowded. They have social workers that are underpaid, under-respected, that do so much work, that have so much load, like such a big load on them. Like I have a social worker that had to meet the needs of like 20 or 14 kids, and she's one woman dealing with about 20 children that are having emotional trauma building experiences all around them. Right.
So they're really doing the best that they can. I wish more people really talked about the importance of fostering and taking in kids. Like you see all these, like I'm not trying to get super political or controversial on your podcast.
Right.
But you see a lot of these like rallies and advocacy boards for like pro-life and things like that, especially like with the Christian community that, I really support. But if every church in America took in a foster kid, then the foster care system would be like wiped out clean. Like it wouldn't be a problem anymore. And the problem is a lot of people want to advocate for these things and people don't actually want to take the time to bring a kid into their house and to give up that much. But if everyone did that, then the foster care system that's the problem. It's just too overcrowded right now. Yeah. But I think that they do the best they can with the amount of resources that they have.
Right. And it's, you're seeing that firsthand and everything, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard there's a lot of stories
I'm sure
that you meet when you meet kids and you hear a lot of horror stories, but the system really does, do the best they can. They're so overwhelmed with how much is on them.
Right. So what are your kind of aspirations moving forward? You got the second book, you got the course, but what else outside of, being a realtor, what are like your dreams and your goals that you're trying to accomplish in the business world?
Oh, in the business world?
Yeah.
I really just want to be just a real estate investor.
Okay.
My goal is to make enough money to invest in real estate, have mentors, have people that are a lot smarter than me, a lot more successful than me, to show me here's what I would do, here's what you should do with that money. And pretty much I want to just start like my brand now, the Grace Advantage, like the brand is just about influencing people or encouraging people and just motivating people. And I want to just continue to do things like that. Like I want to have a mentorship program where we motivate, we mentor kids and we teach them about, okay, here's personal one-on-one experience with how you grow, how you establish a business, or just whatever you want to do. Even if the kid's not an entrepreneur, even if the kid just wants to go be a PE coach or a PE teacher. Okay, well, let's help you be the most successful PE teacher that we can. I want to just keep on continuously doing what I can to help kids or help people that just come from unfortunate circumstances or have just made bad decisions and help them get their life back on track. And I think that's something that I'm really passionate about. So I don't know exactly what direction I'll take with that yet, but I know that's the path I want to head towards for sure.
Dude, I love that, man. You've got within TikTok, it provides a great platform to continue to achieve and accomplish those goals.
Yeah, TikTok's awesome.
From a creator standpoint.
From a creator standpoint.
From a consumer standpoint, you're going to lose a lot of time.
It's a waste of time.
I love the creators are attacking the consumers.
Yeah, people probably like, why would you say that? I mean, it's just to be honest though, like
it is what it is.
There's no point if you're not going to be a creator, there's really no point of having it.
And then you can always, say, hey, look, consume to a point.
Yeah.
Once you consume enough, get off, delete it, and go out and do something within the world.
If you're gonna go on TikTok, like maybe like set an alarm on your phone for 20 minutes, and then
there you go.
Then like, hey, okay, my alarm went off. I'm gonna stay in this portal, or if I don't get off my phone. I've never done that, but it's just a good idea.
Hey, dude, I like the idea, man. I like the idea. So starting to kind of wind down the show, we have a set list of questions we normally ask people. I'm gonna have to tailor them a little bit because. Okay. One of them is, what is something you love doing as a kid? Although, if there is something you love doing as a kid, you wish you could still do today.
Probably sports. Now I do virtual school. Like, I love sports. I love track, cross country, soccer, play tennis. And now that I do virtual school, like I'm doing virtual school to really do this stuff more. But take advantage of sports while you can if you're a teenager or you're young.
You should like find some intramural sports for like people that aren't in school that want to play outside of school.
Yeah.
And then start making those in like business meetings.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Bring somebody, say, hey man, let's go play tennis and let's talk business.
It's a really good idea.
Or, hey, let's go kick a soccer ball around at Independence Park or something. Let's talk business.
Yeah, I like that.
Take your sports and turn them into meetings.
That's a good idea.
I mean, hey, that's what golf's there for.
Yeah, that's true. I need to invest in some golf skills.
There you go.
I knew I want to get good at tennis or golf because I figured like business meetings would go either way, and tennis is a lot of fun, but golf would definitely be a good investment.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already playing tennis, hey, like next time you got a meeting with somebody, be like, hey man, just meet me on the courts and we'll play some tennis and we'll chat.
If I win, you have to do business with me.
That's now we're gambling. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So what are 3 lessons you've kind of learned along the way throughout? It could be from writing your book, from your experience in the foster care system, just kind of 3 lessons you've gathered thus far.
3 lessons to probably always just find something to be grateful for. There's always something to focus on to be grateful for. Even when it seems like there's nothing, there's always something that you have. You're just not acknowledging usually that other people wish that they had or could be in your situation for. So to always be grateful, just like one of the points of attitude. The second would probably be just to stand out and be different. Like just because everyone's going this conventional path, whether that's school or family or whatever that is, don't let everyone else's path define your path. Especially for my teenagers watching this, it's okay to take a non-conventional path, to do virtual school, to start your career younger, to start a family younger, whatever that may look like. My third, probably just to be kind to people. I think kindness is really important. I think, like I'm a teenager in my books, usually things I say are geared towards teenagers. But especially like for high schoolers, you never know, that kid that you're being mean to, it really could be your boss in like 10, 15 years.
It could be.
But just be kind to people and just be, a person that people enjoy being around because you just uplift others, not someone that's always, tearing down others or making jokes to put down others. Like just be someone that people enjoy being around because of how you make them feel.
I love that, man. So do you live in Baton Rouge? Or are you around the area?
I'm around there. I'm from Denham.
Okay. So what do you love about this area around Baton Rouge, Denham, and all that?
The people for sure. I've lived in about 20 houses in about like 6 states. So I've traveled a good bit and lived a lot of places. But I think the people, it's just a great environment, great school district, a lot of that Southern hospitality over here for sure. So that's probably my favorite part. It's just the people I'm around.
The people can make or break a community.
Yeah, it really will.
Yeah, man. So what is something I can do to help?
I think just encouraging people to buy a book for themselves or for a foster kid. And we're always looking for, I'm sure you might have some business owners that watch your show. We're always looking for business owners to come in and help. We do different events. We're looking for sponsors all the time. So if any business owners want to get involved, or hey, if anyone out there is either an agent that would be willing to work with me to help me book more things, or just someone that says, hey, I hear this good story, hear what he wants to do. I'm someone that considers myself as having already accomplished this path, that'd be interested in teaching me and mentoring me. I'd always appreciate that. So just if you know anyone, just send them my way.
You got it, man. Well, thank you so much, Tommy, for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you reaching out and kind of initiating this whole thing and making it happen, man. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad you guys let me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning in, whether it is through the podcast version or it is through the web version. I'm really appreciative of it, as well as the guests. Y'all make this show be what it is. And also a big thanks to our 2 lovely sponsors, Falaya Real Estate, a local Baton Rouge born-based application to help you sell your home, make things so much easier and just streamline the entire process. Call Barrett up at Falaya and tell him Patty G sent you. And also Government Taco, our lovely sponsor. They have specialty tacos each and every month that vary depending on the month. They get new tacos going out there every single month. September, they got a brand new one. Mondays are Margarita Mondays, and Thursdays, happy hour all day long. And if you're around September 15th, we're going to be there recording episode 100 live. Y'all come out and see us. Thank y'all so very much for tuning in to the Patty G Show. I am your host, Patty G, and we're out.